criminal justice, healing, education. Let's awaken the people. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are currently watching. My name is Holly Sisa. I am the founder of Morning Mimosas, and here we value human life, criminal justice, healing, and educating for the Black and minority communities with a note that we love everyone. Before I start today's episode, I will do some housekeeping tools. We will start with this here. For those of you who want to have amazing skin or love natural products, please use code MM23 on immunasoaps.com to receive 5% off all 9 collections. Please remember when you guys are purchasing from immunasoaps.com, you guys use this code MM23 to get 5% off your total purchase. Please remember when you are purchasing from immunasoaps.com to make sure you are purchasing a minimum of $7 to get that wonderful 5% discount. Once again, use code MM23 to get 5% off immunasoaps.com. Guys, today we will be talking about the case of Jason Arellano. He was a 15-year-old boy who was murdered in the spring of 2004 in Denver, Colorado, specifically the 1400 block between the streets of King Street and Lowell Boulevard. Guys, doing this case is going to be very, very hard for me for 2 reasons. There's not a lot of information on his case. And the sergeant that I had gotten in touch with for this case did not give me a call back. So I'm just going to give you guys the information that is out there. And then obviously I'm going to speak on justice for him and for all others whose cases are unsolved. On March 23rd, 2004, Jason Arellano and 2 others were shot in an alley at the 1400 block between King Street and Lowell Boulevard in Denver. All 3 victims were shot. 2 of them survived, and unfortunately, 15-year-old Jason Arellano lost his life. And I will go ahead and show that young man again. This is Jason Arellano, 15 years old. He was 5'1", 100 pounds at the time of his death. So he was a tiny teenager who had the rest of his life. If you guys are currently looking, you guys will see he should be turning 36 years of age this year. But instead, someone decided to do an evil act and take this young man from his family. I want to first and foremost give my sincerest condolences and my love to the Arellano family. It was really hard because this was in 2004 and that was the beginning of social media. So I was unable to find anyone related to this young man. But if the family does see this episode, the only thing I want for you guys is for your son, brother, if he's an uncle now, uncle, to get justice. That's all I want. It's a really sad situation that took place on that spring day back in 2004. And I will go ahead and show the location of where it took place. This is the location, ignore where the point is, but this is the location of where Jason Arellano was shot. In that alley, more towards going south, because going north is Colfax for those of you who live in Denver, and going south is 13th Avenue. So he was shot in the alley closer to going towards 13th. Sad case, guys. It's a really, really hard one to fathom that a young man at 15 years old would lose his life like that. And when researching this case, there was not too much information on it. You know, I was really, really grateful when the Sergeant Joseph Vasquez called me a few days ago, I was excited because I was like, okay, maybe he has some insight for me that I'll be able to present to you guys today. But I want to apologize that I do not have more information than what I will be presenting to you guys today. The one thing I will say about victims such as Jason and others is that they deserve justice, which is why I tell the story whether there's information or not. So I want you guys to just please be mindful that this is somebody's son. This was somebody's brother. This was somebody's relative. And for almost 20 years, no justice. It just blows my mind that there were people probably in that alley, because there was 3 people that were shot, right? But yet this case is still very much unsolved. And it's just so heartbreaking. I mean, look at this young man's face. That is so sad. What happened to him? He deserved way more than his life ending at 15 years of age. So, as a native of Denver, although I was born in North Carolina, I've lived in Denver almost 30 years. I just want to say to you, for those of you who may have known Jason Arellano or may have known what happened that day, I am asking you guys to come forward and please, please say something that will get this young man justice. And then for the other 2 victims, I couldn't find any information on the other 2 people that survived the shooting. But to those victims that survived, I just want to say I'm grateful that you guys survived the shooting. But if there's something that you too may know, come forward and say something. Because Jason Arellano was a human being who deserved his life. And I will reiterate this every single time. His life was cut short at 15. He was a few months shy of being 16. So I need people to please, if you know anything about this case that happened on May 23rd, 2004 in Denver, Colorado, on the 1400 block between Kings Street and Lowell Boulevard. And I will go ahead and show you guys that again. Lowell Boulevard, King Street. If you guys know anything about what happened almost 20 years ago, please, may your subconscious come forward. Because like I said, there's not a lot of information on this case. There's only the 3 victims that were shot. Jason lost his life. And the shooters or shooters, no one knows what happened. Another thing that's very frustrating about Jason Arellano's case is that we don't know what they were doing in that alley. We don't know if it was a bunch of kids in that alley and they were chilling, hanging out. We don't know what the situation was at that time. So I'm here to say to you guys who lived in that area between King Street and Lowell Boulevard in Denver, near 14th. If you guys know what happened almost 20 years ago, say something. It's time for justice for this young man. It's time for justice for him and for many, many others. One of the things about me, and as you guys know, I am now a criminal justice student, and I will be starting my detective courses in April to be a detective. I will do my part to make sure that Jason Arellano and Xavier Walker, Trayvon Williams, Alex Johnson gets justice. Okay? Those are just a few of the cases that I look into regularly. It's time for justice for these young men and women who have lost their lives unjustly. I am so sick and so tired of people getting away with harming another human being who did not deserve their lives to be taken from them. I don't know why other people are not as upset or as frustrated as I am, but hopefully, as I talk more about the beautiful souls that were lost, people start to care more. Because Jason Arellano, and I will show that young man again, was 15 years old when he lost his life. He should be turning 36 this year. I need people to stop being so selfish and just thinking about themselves and not coming forward, holding on to these secrets for years and years and years. Where's the love? Where's the justice? Where's any of that? Come on, people. We've got to do better. We've got to do better as a people. You guys need to start coming forward. Guys, you guys can be anonymous. That's the thing I don't get about people. If you have these secrets and you don't want people to know it's you, you can call these police departments anonymously and give the information. That way it's not tied to you and justice is also taking place. I mean, it just absolutely mind boggles me that people can take someone else's life and other people can just sit back and not say anything. Absolutely absurd. This young man was 15 years old and went to the grave. Oh, I almost started crying. Y'all, this is my passion. Like, I'm so passionate about this. You guys know my story. I lost a child, so I sympathize with Jason Arellano's mother. This kind of behavior has got to stop. We need to look at the sociological reasons why we do things like this. We need to look at the biological reasons of why we do crimes like this. It is absolutely ridiculous. Every single day, we go on about our days. We go to work. We take care of our kids. We go grocery shopping. We do this. But we don't stop and think, damn, that family's suffering. They don't know what happened to their loved one for real. While we just move on about our days. That's got to stop, you guys. We've got to care more. We've got to step back and put human back in humanity. That's what the problem is. Everybody's for themselves, for themselves, for themselves. But what about the human aspect of being a human, ladies and gentlemen? Researching this case has been very hurtful as a mother and as a criminal justice agent. I need people to start coming forward because this man had the rest of his life ahead of him. And somebody out there took that from him and got to live their life without consequence. I'm sorry, I will not stand for that. I will not stand for that. I stand for justice for the victims and healing for the family. This cannot continue to happen, even though it's continuing. Let me not sit here and act like I'm oblivious. It continues every day. As long as there's people like me out here wanting to do better, change will happen. And change needs to happen. The problem with a lot of these cold cases is that people know stuff and keep it to themselves because of self-preservation, but not thinking about how is that mom suffering because she doesn't know who harmed her child? Or how is that dad suffering because he doesn't know what happened to his child? Or if that child was raised by the grandparent who outlived her grandchild. Like, I need people to start being more human. It's really sad to see how humanity is. Where's the love? Where's the love for this young man? This is who we are discussing today. Jason Arellano, born September 22nd, 1988. And unfortunately, in an alley in Denver, one spring afternoon, someone took that from him. Someone took this young man's goals, aspirations, and dreams from him and from his family. And someone has to pay for that. Someone has to pay for that. Here is some information from the CBI about Jason Arellano's homicide. The officers were called to the location of the 1400 block alley between Lowell and King on a report of a shooting. Upon arrival, officers found 2 wounded individuals in addition to Jason, who was pronounced dead at the scene. Suspects who are responsible for the shooting death of Jason Arellano have yet to be identified. Yet to be identified. Look at the case details, ladies and gentlemen. Baby boy was 5'1", 100 pounds. A tiny, tiny teenager. Like I said, who had the rest of his life. And no one's come forward yet. Absolutely absurd, ladies and gentlemen, that someone could take someone else's life and for 20-something, almost 20 years, just be free. I just want to break something down to you guys for a second. For people who who so-called get away with crime, right? Some of those people go on to have families, decent jobs, some of them, and some of them have good lives, even though they did a horrible act. Can you imagine being the loved one of a murder victim and then finding out that the person, if that person ever gets caught, ended up having a good life, a family, marriage, a good job after they did that to your loved one? I just want people to stop and think for 1 second. That's what's happening with these families. The person that ended up killing their loved one got away with it, then ended up living their life, or they ended up in prison. I don't know. We don't know what truly happened. It's just frustrating, ladies and gentlemen. And I need you guys to please feel this frustration with me when it comes to cases of Jason Arellano and many other people whose cases are unsolved, including the missing. It's time for us as a community to start coming forward and getting justice for people. And I want to say this: let's get justice for people before a horrible act has occurred. I'm speaking in cases of domestic violence, any kind of abusive relationship. Let's learn to get people help before things get out of hand. And if they do end up in a sad circumstance like this, let's start coming forward. There's just so many people in the grave that shouldn't be there. Too many people in the grave that shouldn't be there. But yet that's where they are. Because of a selfish act of another human being. When does it stop? As humans, yes, we are entitled to a little bit of selfishness. We are entitled to a small smidget of selfishness, but not the way that we exhibit selfishness nowadays. I mean, I'm telling you, the way people just, like I said, it's great to have self-preservation, but the way as humans do it now is just, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. There's no love, just hatred. And that's why a lot of these cases don't get solved either. Hatred. People know things, don't want to say nothing. I'm going to keep reiterating that, the not saying thing part. Now, I will be one of the people to say, I get why some people don't come forward. Retaliation and everything else. But I will be that one person to also stop you as well and tell you, yeah, you feel retaliation. But there's a thing called anonymous reporting that I need people to start to understand and start to do. Do you know how many cases would be solved if people just thought, hey, I know something, I don't want to get in trouble for it, I can call anonymously? Anonymous, people. You can be anonymous. If you know what happened to Jason Arellano that day, and what happened to the 2 other victims as well, because 2 other people were shot. So if you know what happened to all 3 of them, come forward and say something. It's time, guys. It's time for justice to happen. It's time for effective change to happen in the community. We need to get these bastards off the street. Pardon my French. We cannot continuously think we can just walk around safely knowing that there's unsolved murders all over the nation, all over the world. I mean, somebody got away with a crime and could do it again and harms another person. Why is there no sense of urgency there? Where's the sense of urgency? I have the sense of urgency, which is why I'm becoming a detective. Because I'm sick and tired of these bastards, and I had to say it again, getting away with harming another person unjustly. There's things called self-defense, but we're not talking about self-defense here. I'm talking about taking someone else's life because you either A, angry, jealous, greed, 7 deadly sins. I've talked to you guys about this on a variety of episodes. The 7 deadly sins are the reason people commit murder and crimes. We need to step back as human beings. And we need to reevaluate safety. How can we truly feel safe knowing that there's an extremely high rate of unsolved cases? Not even just unsolved murders, but unsolved missing persons. Because usually we know, guys, if someone's missing, that has something to do with another person. And I'm going to speak to the police departments for a second. I need you guys to put forth more effort into getting these cases solved. I get that sometimes you guys are at standstills because you guys don't have all the information that is needed. But I'm here to say to you guys, put forth more effort to get these cases solved of the minority community. We deserve justice too. It's just completely out of control how many cases I look into on a regular basis that I have on my docket to get solved. I have so many cases on my docket to get solved. And I will. That's one of the big things about me. I will get justice because I'm determined to. Because I'm sick and tired of bastards getting away with crime. I wasn't always a goody two shoes when I was growing up. I was a little badass. I sure was. I was arrested for stealing and stuff when I was a kid. I've done dumb shit. I have. But I turned my life around. It's time for us to start making some changes. Like Tupac said, we got to make a change. And let's do effective change. Let's start by speaking up. Let's start by giving a fuck. That's the best way for me to say that. Let's start by caring about your fellow human. I'm not saying we have to all agree all the time. That don't even make sense to agree with people all the time because we ain't perfect. We're not perfect. I'm asking us as fellow humans to love thy fellow human, past flaws and all, so we can make this world a better place. So we're able to put these creeps in jail for crimes that they commit. And on the flip side, also, getting the brothers and sisters out that do not need to be in prison. It's time to do what's right. Yes, it's time to do what's right. Y'all, we've been doing wrong for all this time. Aren't y'all tired of that? Are you guys not tired of doing wrong? It doesn't frustrate you guys that people continuously like to frighten the community? It doesn't scare you guys that people just don't give a damn about your life or mine? That don't scare y'all? It scares me, but it scares me to do the right thing. It scares me to make sure that I'm doing my part in the community, though. That's a fact. It scares me to make sure that I'm doing right by my children, by other people's children. So today and forevermore, for those of you that love morning mimosas and just love your life, make a change today. If you know something, say something. If you're scared, report it anonymously. If you know what happened to Jason Arellano on May 23rd, 2004 in Denver, Colorado, it's time for you to come forward and say something. This baby deserved his life. This baby deserved his life, and someone took it from him unjustly. So it's time for whomever that person and or persons are, it's time for you to pay the consequence. And that's for all beautiful souls we speak on Morning Mimosas. We seek justice for every last one of them. Jason Arellano, we will get you justice. And to his family, if you guys see this, you guys have Holly Sisa and Morning Mimosas in your corner. We will get justice for these victims because they deserved more than what they got. Rest in love, Jason Arellano. Thank you guys for watching Morning Mimosas today. We will be back next week with another amazing episode. Please keep in mind that when I'm doing stories like this, these are real people who lost their lives. So please have some respect. This is Morning Mimosas, where we value human life, criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities, with a note that we love everyone. Until next time.